Okay, and we are live. So I thought I would take some time today just because I'm sort of in the middle of actually working on other content, and it's going to be kind of a slow crawl before anything really goes up. But I wanted to just stream for now because I had some time, and apparently YouTube is in the middle of some kind of meltdown because they changed the means by which you can actually see like whether your video's monetized or not. I had a bunch of videos demonetized where they basically say like, we need you to verify that you control all commercial licenses with this video. And it's like, yeah, it's a video of me just shitting on Ben Shapiro. I don't really remember there being any kind of fucking commercial licenses needed to offer my opinion about a right-wing commentator that I don't like. I don't know what's going on with YouTube, but they appear to be in pre-meltdown mode because a video went out earlier, and it reached the #1 spot on their trending list, which is the thing is weird about the trending list because they used to curate it all the time. Like literally every video on the trending list was curated, but apparently some conspiracy video reached #1 on YouTube, and a bunch of different outlets have already started writing articles about it, including Politico, The Hill. A bunch of outlets that are all mainstream are being like, oh, YouTube is fucking platforming conspiracy theories. And it's like, and I sent a tweet to Susan Wojcicki, who's the CEO of YouTube. It's like, all right, when's the censorship coming? When are the new rules that are vague as shit and they're going to be applied unevenly and in a schizophrenic manner? When are they coming? We all know what's going to happen. The fucking press wrote a smear piece. Okay, where's the fucking censorship? We all know it's coming. But yeah, I just YouTube at this point is it needs to fucking stand up for itself. It's like watching a fully functional adult male being beaten by a bunch of children. Like it's on the guy's on the ground crying and is being beaten by children. It's just like, listen, dude, just stand up. Okay? You're much bigger than all these different fucking outlets. You have all the money in the world backing you. Just stand up for yourself and say, fuck you, press. We're bigger, YouTube, Google, Alphabet, we're bigger than all of your different outlets combined. We have more following than all of your networks combined. Google has something like 2 billion users. Who gives a shit what any of these outlets think of fucking YouTube or Google? Who cares? You don't make your money through them, so what does it matter? But as I've said, in the past, and as everybody knows, Susan Wojcicki's a fucking incompetent. So she's just going to back down as she always fucking does. Everyone expects what she's going to do, which is to fucking kowtow to the press, as she's always done. So she's a joke, and she should resign. And if she doesn't resign, she should be forced out by somebody. The board, the shareholders, the parent company, fucking somebody should be forcing her out. But, as it relates to the diversity hires, the ship goes down before the captain gets replaced. So I guess just how things are. But yeah, the articles are already coming out about that stupid conspiracy video that made it on the trending list. Ooh, whoop-de-fucking-do. It's too bad. I wish the guy that made it was black or something. That way you can say it's part of Black History Month or it's part of diversity on YouTube or some such fucking nonsense. So that way they can find a means by which to justify it. But other than that, it's this hate speech. Get it off. Get it out of here. Don't allow someone to have a stupid opinion. You got to censor it. They're a conspiracy theorist. You can't just write an article about how they're fucking wrong. No, you got to fucking smear everyone. So stupid. The other really stupid thing that's currently going on today is apparently there's some kind of fucking rally in the state capital of Florida, and this is all over fucking Twitter, where it's a bunch of fucking, not even adults, like high schoolers ranting and raving idiotically about fucking gun control, when it's like, yeah, this is the reason why we don't listen to children. This is why when I was fucking 16, 15 years old, this is why you shouldn't listen to me for any kind of advice on, on anything. Because I was fucking stupid as shit. and I held completely different beliefs to what I believe now in many different regards. I was religious then. I'm not now. I was more in favor of gun control then. I'm not now. Uh, you know, a whole slew of things. Some things haven't changed ultimately, but some things have. And to really expect young people who got a shitty public education to expect them to come out with some kind of sage advice on how to solve the issue of school shootings is flatly fucking stupid. But I mean, these kids are the proxy of adults that are totalitarian. I mean, it's amazing to me how many people that are gun control advocates that are fully grown adults who are just, unabated fucking totalitarians. Like, they don't give a shit about the issue. They don't care to learn about the case law. They don't care to learn about the actual philosophical arguments in favor of access to firearms. Like, they don't care about any of that. They don't care about the spirit of the philosophy that underlies the country. They don't care about the necessity of gun ownership in dangerous areas and how it's necessary for certain jobs, which I contradicted the amazing atheist about last night right before I went to sleep. He just said something stupid. And I was like, okay, well, you're wrong. You're demonstrably wrong. Firearms are necessary even as just a civilian. There are jobs where it is necessary. I have one because I operate in dangerous areas at times, and it's necessary to have. But beyond that, beyond the practicality, beyond the underlying philosophy of the country, just check the case law. Like, that's something that I can just throw in your face and just say, read the case law. District of Columbia versus Heller. Like, that's as far as it really needs to go in terms of the argument. Since 2008, and I know conservatives like to make stupid arguments aside from this, but since 2008, the Supreme Court has ruled that Americans have an individual right to own firearms. That is something that you have to overturn before you fucking do anything in regards to, any kind of gun ban. Even the whole assault weapons ban, like, I don't even think that would be permissible. I think that would be challenged, go up to the Supreme Court, and get knocked down based on that case. Because when you use the phrase individual right, it isn't something that you can just whisk away, or we're going to ban this kind of, we're going to ban the AK-47, we're going to ban the AR-15. That can be challenged. It can go to the Supreme Court. They're going to look at the precedent set in that case. And in my opinion, based on the reading of that case, that bill or law is going to get knocked down, and it's not going to be law anymore. Even with the New York State SAFE Act, which is universally unpopular, the smartest thing for gun advocates or gun enthusiasts, the smartest thing for them to do is to try to challenge that law as hard as they can to get to the Supreme Court, because I do think that if it did, they would win that case based on the precedents that was set in 2008. People have to understand that the precedence that was set speaks louder than a million fucking dead bodies. It doesn't matter how many fucking dead bodies you have. The law means more than any amount of dead bodies. If you're going to change the law, what you have to do is galvanize enough support to literally amend the Constitution to get rid of the Second Amendment, because that's the only way, other than you wait long enough to challenge the precedents that was set at the Supreme Court. You have to get another law to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has to overturn and undo the precedents that was set in a previous case, which is now the law of the land. That's what it requires. Either an amendment, or for you to have a very serious challenge to existing precedents set in case law at the Supreme Court, which is, surprise, the highest court in the land. That's what actually says what is constitutional versus what isn't. You either have to amend the Constitution, or you have to change the precedent. That's it. That's it. This bullshit about, we're going to ban this scope, or we're going to ban pistol grips on rifles, or we're going to fucking ban a bump stock, some gimmicky, stupid shit that was used in one fucking shooting. which can be easily replaced by, I've seen people say belts and other things that you don't even need the device. You could just make it easily, and that it's just a gimmick. It doesn't actually make you necessarily more lethal. So there's not even an argument, as far as I can tell, for the banning of that stupid gimmicky device. So where is this even going? Where is this even going? Like, all these people have, and I tweeted this out earlier in regards to gun control, all these people have is a fucking appeal to emotion. Think of the children as literally their fucking argument. And it's like, I'm sorry, but that has never been a genuine argument ever for any kind of prohibitionist attitude. Whether it's rock and roll, comics, guns, alcohol, whatever the fuck we're talking about, think of the children is not a legitimate argument for any prohibition. It is not a legitimate argument. It is just an emotional appeal for people that have children, and chemicals react once that happens. They have kids, and anything that might put their kid in danger, they have some sort of chemical reaction to where they say, okay, fine, fucking shred the Constitution. Fuck what the Supreme Court says. Fuck the highest court in the country. Fuck the Constitution. Shred it all. Tear it all down just because another 17 kids died in a school shooting that in multiple ways could have been prevented but wasn't. It's a tragedy. It's sad that it happened. Maybe you could investigate it and things could change. But ultimately, the fact is that it was one event. And just because a tragedy happens doesn't mean you throw it doesn't mean you throw your principles, and it doesn't mean you throw the Constitution into a fucking shredder for convenience. To what? To what end? You ban the bump stocks, you ban the AR-15. Is that going to solve school shootings? No, it's fucking not. So what's even the point? What are you even rambling on about? But no, it's just the desperate cry of authoritarians, of totalitarians, looking to do something illiberal, thinking it's going to achieve fuck all. It's frustrating to watch. And, I think conservatives have unfortunately talked themselves into a fucking corner in large part, because you have several conservatives, including Mitt Romney, Donald Trump, and a bunch of others, a whole slew of them, a lot on Twitter, virtue signaling about banning the bump stock and just conceding the argument that this is something that we can legislate based on gun ownership. That gun ownership is not the means by which someone's conducting a mass shooting. It's the source. That's the thing you're conceding, when that is in fact not true. Just because you own a gun doesn't mean that somehow, and it's crazy. There's been tweets by people, there's this older guy in his 60s, yeah, I'm going to, burn my AR-15, or I'm going to sell it, or dismantle it, something, because I don't want to see this gun used in a shooting. It's like, well, what are you going to do? Give it away to somebody who's mentally disturbed? How the fuck is your gun locked away in your own home going to be used for a shooting unless you're the one that's fucking doing it? Or you have somebody in your home that has access that's mentally disturbed. It's the fact that you have violent people pulling the trigger. That is the issue. That is the source. And I don't even agree that, okay, the solution is we just strip that person of the constitutional rights. That's the solution. I don't know what the solution is. I think part of it's bullying. I think that's the thing that's wrong here. Maybe if that fucking faggot that shot those kids would have instead punched his bully instead of acted like a little faggot and came back after he got kicked out of school and shot a bunch of people. Maybe the solution is actually get in a fight and solve it then, rather than shoot a bunch of people at random. I don't know. Maybe we should just continue on with the status quo of telling bullied kids to just fucking deal with it. That seems to be working. That seems to be, churning out functional human beings. But no, let's go for the easy solution of just, it's the guns. It's the guns. And you guys know me. For those of you that have been following me for a while now, I'm not a gun enthusiast. I'm not someone that shoots for sport. I'm not a hunter. I own personally a pistol, and I'm considering owning a second pistol, but smaller for easier carry. You know, it's my parents that are more enthusiastic about shooting. And yet it's like, and that's pretty much where I derive, not my philosophical attitude, but the fact that I own a firearm and I know how to use it. It's through my parents. But, you know, the philosophy is a lot more expanded than just that. And I don't think that, oh, family is the solution to this shit, as I've heard conservatives say, well, this is about family and blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, if you have a broken home and a shitty family and everyone in their grandmother's telling you to just take it because you're being bullied in high school, you know, that's the problem. It's not, oh, teach every kid how to use a gun so that they can be more lethal when they pull the trigger. You know, I hear conservatives with good arguments against gun control, but as substitutes, I think, again, this is one of the things. It's like, go back to the fucking drawing board, please. Please don't go on television ranting and raving about video games, which I've seen a whole slew of conservatives do. And these are conservatives with power. Senators, state senators, assemblymen, congressmen, and even a governor have all come right out and said it's music lyrics and it's video games, and they need to be taken care of. Those, in the instance of one of the governor from Kentucky, he said that those games should not be in distribution, meaning a full-blown ban from government banning games because fucking mass shootings happen. That's his solution. Music lyrics and fucking video games. So conservatives, you're not wrong on the issue, but you need to go back to the fucking drawing board because holy shit. Holy shit. It's like I'm living in 1993. I'm 3 years old and I'm listening to a conservative blowhard talk about fucking rap lyrics as any kind of solution to fucking violence. Wow. Magical fucking thinking we got going on here. But again, I'll just say that, you know, ultimately conservatives on the issue generally are right. They are right. The Constitution is paramount. The case law is set. It's precedent. So what do? You shouldn't be conceding bump stocks. You shouldn't be conceding points to your opposition. You shouldn't be conceding points in terms of the philosophy to totalitarians. You shouldn't be fucking doing that. I know it's politically expedient to say, oh, I care about the children's too. But you're not being honest. You're just being politically expedient. You're just trying to move away from the argument. You know, it's just kind of, it's ridiculous to me. Don't make jokes. Don't say insensitive shit. You know, don't do stupid things. Don't say stupid things. Just say, listen, look, we have a constitution. This has been argued in the highest court of the land. The precedence has been set. So we have limitations for what we can do. And the fact is that even if we want to, you know, disregard the issue of firearms, the fact is that that's not the source of the issue. And that is a demonstrable fact. The source of the issue is not this specific kind of firearm or firearms generally. It's not sporting rifles. It's not pistols. It's the fact that you have fucking lunatics wielding them. That is the fucking source of the issue. You know, no one wants to talk about the unprecedented suicide rate that we have. No one wants to talk about how suicides are rising. No one wants to talk about how many people kill themselves using guns. Not killing others, killing themselves with guns. No one wants to talk about that. But no, let's rant and rave because 200 people in the last 30 years have fucking died in a mass shooting. When every year, thousands of fucking people die from suicide using a gun. Thousands and thousands a year die from that. Nobody fucking cares. Nobody fucking cares. Some cocksucker walks into fucking high school, blows away 17 people, and all of a sudden everyone's fucking hysterical. It's just stupid. And I find the fucking things being offered to be completely ridiculous in terms of any kind of solution. So I'm going to check chat here. I think there was something else I wanted to mention. Bazinski says, what the fuck streaming at this hour? I can't post in your stream under these conditions. Dislike Sargoy. I actually invited Sargon on here, but he's prepping for the D&D stream tonight with him and Uzulu V. Archhammer. Oh God, what's his name? I got him on Skype, so I should probably remember. Short Fat Otaku. I think that might be it. I think that's it for their fucking faggot fest of Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, I know. I was invited a long time ago to join them, but it just kind of went nowhere. And I really don't know much about Dungeon, and my schedule's not open either, so it's really infrequent when I have time. I have not played Dungeons and Dragons, so I'm not familiar with it. Anyways, so yeah, let's see what else is going on Twitter here. Because there was something else. Oh, people are talking about Twitter itself. Apparently, Twitter's banning people or something. I saw a lot of people complaining about hashtag Twitter lockout. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that. I didn't lose any followers, but apparently, big name conservatives, including Paul Joseph Watson and a whole host of other people, have apparently been losing thousands of subscribers. And I'm not like I saw Gab, the official Gab account, tweeting about this as well. I'm really not sure what it is, but this one tweet by some guy named Travis Allen is one of the top tweets, and it says that Twitter banned a ton of Russia-linked bot accounts from the platform, and Republicans are crying that their free speech is being censored. And he says in claps, unironically, I assume, Russian bots aren't entitled to free speech. Which I gotta say that that's I don't know, like I kind of doubt that that's true, that they're banning, like, there's all of those accounts are Russian bots, all of them. I mean, I assume that there are some fair amount of accounts on Twitter that are bot accounts, because that's been shown before, is that one of the things that's notable about Twitter is that there are like an infinite number of bot accounts. And there are, different websites that you can use to verify precisely how many are like fake or actual followers. Basinski says again, ban guns. My Brazilian paramilitary squads will take care of you, Lewis. Also, you should play D&D, you pleb. Also, what do you think about the FBI not acting on the tip of the shooter? Well, that's probably just, bureaucracy in terms of the FBI not acting on the tip. I'm sure they get a lot of tips every single day. One of the things is that, as far as that shooting that happened in Florida, there was all kinds of telltale signs and people that reported this guy to the administration of the school. And I saw at least 2 interviews of people they talked to, and they go, they ask him, like, okay, what do you think about the guy that did the shooting? Did you know him? And they were like, yeah, everyone knew him. And everyone expected this was the guy that was going to show up and shoot a bunch of people. And it's kind of like, you look at that and it's like, well, I don't really know what to say. That's the real issue here, is that this kid was probably a fucking outcast, a freak, and ultimately it ended where he fucking shot a bunch of people because he was fucked up. Taco Liquor says do you have a source to that, Taco Liquor, that the cops were called to his house a bunch of times? So I assume it can't be just for him. I assume that he lives in a broken home. Feel free to link that if you have an article. The Autistic Whisperer says, thoughts on that game journalist being fired for defending the developers of Kingdom Come Deliverance? I don't think he was a game journalist. I think he just was the manager of a Twitter account. I didn't think he was a journalist. But I mean, that's pretty much what you expect. I mean, that's gaming. I don't really know how much I can say other than that. I mean, it's the David Farva, which I think is how you say his name. He went out of his way back when to support Gamergate, and that put him on the shit list as it related to the the journos. I mean, once you're on that list, there's no way to get off of it unless you fucking do the full apology tour, groveling virtue signal for the rest of your life kind of action. Like that's really the only way. Okay, Taco Licker, you're saying New York Post. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's no real way to win when it comes to the game journos. You're either on the progressive ticket or you're not. There's no gray area when it comes to them, and I am not in any way surprised that I mean, I would expect them to review the game and give it negative reviews because of fucking, oh, this is not true to reality, and et cetera, et cetera. Even though, like, I have yet to see a credible argument to say, like, oh, there was this plethora of fucking people that weren't white in Eastern Europe. It's okay. It's like, okay, well, how would they fucking get there if they weren't? You know, it doesn't really make much sense to me. But yeah, I don't really have too much to say about it. I've only played it a handful of times, and since I've gotten it, so there's not really too much I can say about it other than it's not bad. It has one, few too many loading screens, stuff like that. The lockpick mechanic is kind of wonky. I said on Twitter that it's a shit mechanic, but I guess you can kind of get used to it in the same way that you can get kind of used to the shittiness of a game. So you can do it even without like the abilities that you would get from leveling up to make it harder to break the pick itself, which is the biggest problem because everything in the game is super expensive when you start out. It's also kind of a slow moving game, and it definitely doesn't hold your hand as far as I can tell. You can get lost easily if you're not fucking paying attention, if you're skipping things. You can get lost as to what you're supposed to do. Not super easily, but if you're not paying attention, it's easy to get lost because the game doesn't hold your hand like other games would, where it just points in the direction. Okay, you're on this mission, stupid. Go here. This is what you do now. It doesn't operate like that. So you kind of have to get used to the style of the game itself. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. It's pretty much I just wanted to vent about the stupid shit that's been going on all day today with the fucking gun shit. That is getting really annoying. I think they stopped streaming it. It looks like. Oh no, it's still going. It's still going. Oh Jesus. It's just really cringy and bad. Oh, is it a BuzzFeed stream? Is that what it is? Oh God. No wonder. They have a bunch of right now it's on Twitter that's live feed of like two priests, it looks like. I don't know. You don't speak to priests. Speak to a fucking lawyer. Speak to somebody that's actually knowledgeable about the issue and about the law and the case law, the precedents that's been set. Interview those people. Have them speak. I want to hear what they have to say because I guarantee it won't be much of anything. Okay, let me see here. I haven't really seen anyone mention it just yet, but I thought I would mention Anthony Birch, because Ian Miles Chung wrote, did he write? Yeah, I think he just tweeted it. Let me find the tweet so I can make this concise, so I don't stumble over what people actually said. Okay, here it is. Okay, so Ian Miles Chung, and this I think was yesterday, 15 hours ago. Not only self-loathing and racist, but delusional and violent. Riot Games employs this man as a writer, and it's in regards to Anthony Birch. And it's Anthony Birch basically saying that he agrees with the villain of Black Panther, who is like a racial identitarian lunatic. He said wouldn't it be better if Michael B. Jordan dive bombed into Congress and beat the shit out of every Republican with a Romanian spear? I don't know who the fuck Michael B. Jordan is. Maybe that's an actor in the movie. But yeah, it's wishing violence on political opposition and agreeing with the fucking lunatic villain of a movie. And Ian Miles Chung points out that this guy, and rightly so, points out that this guy has had continuous work in the gaming industry. I don't recall a time where Anthony Birch has been like actually traditionally unemployed in the industry. He's always been at least contracting with somebody, doing side work for somebody, or fully employed as a writer. And he's terrible. He is absolutely terrible. He has only gotten worse as years have gone on. For those that have played the Borderlands series, which he was part of, he has gotten worse. And everything that he does in gaming is just virtue signaling, forced diversity, and just ruining stories. I mean, he's awful. He is an awful fucking writer, and he's talentless. But the issue is, okay, you have this talentless human being. How is he constantly getting work? How is this guy constantly getting work? And the answer is because he has the right politics. That's how he gets work. He has the right politics. Same with his sister. People like to point out it's the whole female thing. No, it's the right politics. The both of them have the right politics, and that's how they keep getting employed. Gaming is a fucking incestuous cesspit, and they are big figures in it. They know a lot of people, and they get hired based on politics. And is it cronyism? Yeah, cronyism. And I can't stand Anthony Birch. He's just insufferable. And one of the big reasons why I don't like him, and I mentioned this on Twitter. Okay, so let me lay this out before I get to that. So Ian Miles Chung puts that on Twitter, and he talks about how he works for Riot Games. So Bunty King responds to him, and this got a lot of likes and recognition. He says, "I think everyone should be allowed to work. I really don't give a shit what somebody else's politics are, so long as they're willing to set them aside and produce good work." So the sentiment on Bunty King's part is correct. The sentiment is right. Generally speaking, people should be allowed to do their job and earn a living and all the rest, so long as they're the politics are separate from what they actually do. But the issue is that with Anthony Birch, that's actually false. That is not true, because the reason why he gets hired isn't because he produces good work. It is because he has the right politics. He is an absolute awful writer. An absolutely awful writer, talentless, and yet he is continuously employed. No matter how many fucking companies and projects he gets let go from, he's always employed. There's always another job waiting for him. And it's because of politics. So to finish this off, and I'm not going to bother sharing my screen, but Ian Miles Chung says he agrees generally, except for, because Anthony Birch has said in the past that he's tried to cost people their jobs and to get people fired. And so Bunty obviously, it goes back and forth, but he says, oh, okay, well then fuck him, and it carries on. But the part that I care about is where I point out that I do want him blacklisted in gaming, along with other people that exist for no other reason than to ruin properties that they're put on. And because he is called for the exact same thing, he's called for the blacklisting of other people, So this is not a tactic that he would be against. And the fact that he is only hired because of his politics. So it's 3 very solid reasons that this guy should be persona non grata in gaming. And the game that I cite that it's not the only reason why I can't stand the guy, and I know there's a lot of people that can't stand him, but the reason why I especially can't stand him is that he got put for no reason, apparently. He was hired by Telltale, which was creating a narrative game based on Borderlands. And they called it Tales from the Borderlands. It was supposed to be something that was completely distinct from the Borderlands series. It was supposed to be its own fucking IP. It was supposed to be distinct from it, from the onset. And it was, from the onset. Obviously, it's on Pandora, the planet that the game is based on, or the series, rather. It involves Hyperion, which up until the end of that game, it existed. It's destroyed in Tales of the Borderlands at the end. But it dealt with the same lore, ultimately on the same planet, but the characters that were introduced in the games were largely secondary to a new cast of characters that were introduced in that narrative game. And the first 2 episodes, especially the first one, the first 2 episodes of that narrative series from Telltale is the best game they've made. And I mean that including The Walking Dead and The Wolf Among Us, which everyone drools over because those are the only 2 they've played. It was better than those 2. It was a phenomenal start to a series. And I was expecting that to be the series. I was like, holy shit, Telltale is actually making a very real and solid series that is going to be the rebound for Telltale. Because at the time, they were very much in stagnation mode, where they were going downhill quickly. And I thought this was going to be the game that may have been what turned the company around. As we all know, that didn't happen. But the thing is that Anthony Birch didn't write the first 2 episodes. He wasn't even part of Telltale, as far as I could tell at that point. But right before, it was like right at the end of when the second episode came out, Telltale announced that Anthony Birch was coming in to write for episodes 3 through 5. And episodes 3 through 5 were absolutely abysmal. Episode 3 especially is a train wreck. And I've talked about this numerous times. And I believe at the time when it came out, the equation that I made to it was basically a tractor trailer on the highway doing 90 miles an hour, going towards its destination and then jackknifing into the fucking ditch. Like, that to me was the metaphor to use for how terrible the 3rd episode was and how much it took away from the entire series. It was abysmal in numerous ways, and it destroyed everything that made the game before, as it existed, great. They introduced several different characters, almost all of whom were women, and they were unequivocally terrible characters. 2 of which were from whatever the Borderlands was, the one where they're on the moon. I forget whatever one that was. That's where they were from. The characters they introduced, with the exception of, I think, 1 maybe. It was terrible. They were terrible diversity fucking hire characters. They were awful characters. The story switched from focusing on the protagonist, which makes sense considering the style of the game. It's about the protagonist, to those characters. They got the spotlight for no fucking evident reason other than to outshine the protagonist for no other reason than they're fucking queers. They're fucking gay. 2 lesbians. And it's like, it just made no fucking sense. It destroyed the plot. It destroyed the pacing of the game. It took away the spotlight from characters that they were already laying out. They were already, allowing to grow as characters, expressing why they're doing things, their ambition, what they're doing things for. It just it derailed the entire fucking series. And it's an episodic series, so it matters. It was unbelievable to me. But you do the thing that, what happens when you see something that's terrible, you hope okay, they can learn from this. Hopefully they just managed to right the ship in episode 4 and 5. And as we all probably know at this point, that never happens. That never happens. When somebody fucks up, they don't right the ship. As it relates to Star Wars, for example, after people watch The Last Jedi and we're like, wow, this is terrible. Hopefully the next one's going to be good and make up. It isn't. It isn't. They're not going to hire the people that are necessary, that are talented enough to make that series salvageable. And in the same way, as it related to episodes 4 and 5 of Tales from the Borderlands, they couldn't right the ship. And it was nothing but a spiral to the absolute bottom, which was episode 5, which was god-awful, which ended, and I kid you not, in a Deus Ex Machina, which is basically you just have this magical fucking ending to correct all the fucking issues with the writing. That is how the fucking end of the game, that's what ended the game. A character died and then was brought back to life because magic. It was so fucking terrible and pointless, and it shocked me how bad it was. And I didn't get mad. I don't think I recorded any kind of, I mean, maybe I did record a rant about it, but I doubt I was screaming at the top of my lungs because I just couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, you took something that was probably the potential best series you did, and you completely fucking destroyed it. And that, as far as I can tell, the only difference that was made is that Anthony Birch was brought in to write for the game. He became a senior writer for the game after episode 2. That was the difference. And that's what the end result was. And like I said on Twitter, he turns gold into shit. You know, it's just, the guy is unbelievable. And that's why he should be unemployed. Not because of, oh, I hate his politics and therefore I'm going to go out of my way to see him fired or whatever shit like that. It's the fact that the guy is toxic and he's only hired for political reasons. That was fucking telltale virtue signaling. It's like, yeah, he has the right politics. He was involved before. The game's now in a crater, but we're going to invite this guy in anyways. And he fucking cratered their game. So it's like, you know, I don't know what to say to people. And that's why I say, like, it's time to give up on Western gaming, because people can point to David Varva's game and say that that's you know, this Eastern European developer is going to save the Western industry. It's like, yeah, right. You might be doing phenomenally well and sold like 500,000 copies on PC, and that's great. But that's not enough. One game is not enough to save the fucking industry. And it seems to me that things are not progressing in a better direction. They appear to be going in the opposite. They appear to be getting worse. And maybe at another time I'll talk about that, because if there's been some alleged insiders from BioWare talking about how people were really pissed that Anita Sarkeesian showed up there. And they showed her the game, by the way. I called that. People like, no, she's just there for a tour. It's like, no. They literally want her opinion on the game. That is why they flew her there, or she just flew there. That is why she's there. She's there to consult on the game. And they confirmed, at least in that person's inside source, that they showed her the game. You don't think they were asking her any fucking questions about it? You think she was just there to take a look at the alpha or whatever? Fuck no. She was there as a consultant. That's why she was there. And considering where things are, I really don't think there is a lot of room for people to be, you know, optimistic as it relates to gaming. Anyways, so we got some more super chats to pound through. Patrick says, noticed a lot of neocons laughing at Milo going on InfoWars. Makes me sympathetic towards Milo. Yeah, he went on there, and I saw, like, there was some tweet with, like, 3,000 fucking likes that was like, oh my God, Milo Yiannopoulos goes on to InfoWars and shills, oh God, what are they called? Supplements. He went on InfoWars to offer supplements. And it's like, yeah, I think he went on the show as like a guest host. That's literally what they do on InfoWars. They shill product that's probably garbage. That's part of what they do. I mean, it, like, the thing I can't stand is like, okay, Are you going to turn around and criticize CNN, NBC, like every outlet pretty much that is shilling for Boeing and Lockheed Martin and every other defense contractor, for oil companies and everyone else? Are you going to give shit to them, like pumping our culture full of fucking pharmaceuticals and opiates while we're in the middle of an opiate crisis? Are you going to fucking bemoan that at all? But no, it's fucking Alex Jones and InfoWars offering sugar pills. That's what gets everyone's fucking, the bourgeois left's panties in a bunch. It's not the defense contractors and the pharmaceutical companies shilling their crap. It's fucking supplements on InfoWars. It really is a joke, in my opinion. It's people that have no ability to even look in the mirror to realize like how ridiculous they think other people look ridiculous. And it's like, yeah, you work at outlets that shill, because a lot of these people are journalists, the verified journals that take issue with it. It's like, yeah, you work at a company, if it's like the Washington Post, I believe, that has like a fucking direct contract with the CIA. It's like, oh man, the moral people have arrived to tell us all about fucking InfoWars and their fucking supplements, you know? And so Dank Oozablue says, here's some shekels weeb, boy. Thank you, Oozablue, for your contribution. Is there anything else going on today? Let me take a look at my Twitter feed just to see. Because I'm saving, this is really impromptu, and I'm saving most of the articles that I have. And I have a bunch of articles that I need to weed through before I do any kind of real stream. This is just kind of a bullshit stream. I don't know. I don't know if there's really anything else going on today. Just a lot of stupid shit. That appears to be the majority of things going on today. A lot of fucking cringy nonsense, gun control, whatever. Fucking Russia, which I'm considering doing a video on. Like, I don't even know if I want to, just because it requires me to debunk a lot of this shit. And a lot of it is it has so many like technical elements to it of like, okay, this is what this memo had regarding this, and it debunks this, and yet they're still saying that. And it's just like, it doesn't really have any tie to Trump, but it does to some people that had former connections to Trump. And it's like it's so mechanical and dry. Like, I don't really know if I want to do it. And it's just endless. Like, every fucking day there's some new story about fucking whatever. Like, I started looking up articles to do that video, because I was like trying to do a small script, and I was like doing the outline of it, and I'm like, all right, let me look for articles. And by the end of it, I had like 12 articles. I'm like, oh my God, like, Jesus, like, and it's 12 unique articles. It's not like 2 articles for one single particular topic on the whole Russia thing. It's just 12 fucking articles on 12 different elements of the whole Russia story. And it's like, then you got to look up, and it's just like basically an assertion, and then you got to look up basically the debunking of the assertion, or an explanation for why it doesn't make sense, or that it's not actually directed towards Trump. Or if it even is true, like the whole $100,000 of Facebook ads from entities that were allegedly tied to the Russian government, although that's not even been proven as far as I can tell. It's like, okay, yeah, okay, you can prove that they bought 1,000 ads on Facebook, but Facebook has been proven that their ad rate, or the amount of people that actually view their ads and see the ads that people are paying for is so useless that they're losing millions and millions of dollars because of that. So the chances of $100,000 worth of advertisements being something that swayed an election is absolutely fucking ridiculous. It is a patently absurd thing, not only to say, but to even believe. Like, for anyone to believe that that's what actually changed the election is fucking ridiculous. And there was some video today of like some CNN guy, and I retweeted that too, some guy at CNN showing up at some woman's house being like, hey, you were involved in this Facebook group. Did you know that like Russians were involved in it? And she's like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? None of the people in that were Russians. They were Trump supporters. Like, what are you talking about? Like, and she goes, like, they didn't sway anybody, even if they were. Like, what are you talking about? And he just kept asking me the question over and over again. Like, did you know people in this group are Russian? And it's just like, what is this even about? Like, where are you even going with this? It's so ridiculous. But they're not stopping. They appear to be, you know, wanting to go along with this narrative that, like, Russia stole the election. Russia stole it from Queen Hillary. Queen Hillary had it right in her grasp up until fucking Russia swooped in and stole it from her. It really is stupid, and I don't know. I thought honestly that it would be done by now, and that's one of the reasons why I'm thinking about doing a video on it, is because I honestly expected that was going to be it. That was the end. That, like, okay, it's gonna peter out sometime this year, because it's been well over a year into the Trump administration, and it's still fucking going. This is still a daily goddamn news story, and I expected it to stop, and I'm just shocked every day that it continues on. And I'm hoping that at some point it stops. I'm hoping that it just dies. So maybe if I do the video, that I could just boom, I get 12 articles, 14 articles, however many it takes. I just concise opinion on each fucking issue, and then bam, I'm done with it. Just real quick video. It doesn't even have to be a Patreon video. Just do it and get it done. But it's like every fucking day there's a new story, and it's like I'm literally going to have, and I save a lot of these things in emails. It's like, I'm just going to have an email with links, and it's just going to be 40 fucking articles, and I'm never going to do the video. Because that's sometimes what happens. Like, if I get too many links and there's too much going on with a story, I either have to chop parts out and try to make it more concise, or the video just doesn't happen. Because the longer it gets, the less likely it's going to fucking happen. Oh, I guess that's something I could point to is for whatever reason, my channel has blown up in the last couple days, and that one that one video I did, I tweeted it out the other day. It's the video I did on Ethan Klein from H3H3, the video I did of him and his podcast and how I don't like his podcast and he was being a hypocrite. That video for a third time went viral. And I haven't checked what it's at currently in terms of the amount of people that have viewed it, but I always realize when a video has gone viral after it's just sat there dormant for a while. And it's because I'll have like 10 comments in a row in like a span of a couple hours, all on one video. That's when I know, okay, people have picked this up again. Like, this got in some kind of algorithm, or somebody linked it on Reddit or some shit. Because usually the only time that I'm getting comments on one video that's old as shit, or I shouldn't say old as shit, but the only time I'm getting a stream of comments on a single video in a short span of time, within like an hour or two, is usually when I put up a video. That's usually when I'm getting a lot of comments in one video. But if it happens outside of that time period of just putting up a new video and people responding to it immediately, it's usually because one of my videos have just entered into somebody's fucking up next slot, or it's a recommend or something, or somebody posted to Reddit. And I'm not sure what it is, because the comments have been mixed on it in terms of people agreeing and disagreeing for a variety of reasons. And I'm not sure why it has gone viral, but in as much time, I lost, like, one day after I put up the Ben Shapiro video, I lost like 50 or so subscribers. And like the last day, I think I've gained like 200. So I'm kind of looking at my channel numbers, like thinking to myself, like, are these real numbers? Like I'm not sure what's going on here. But yeah, I just thought I would mention that. I'm going to get to some super chats. So we got another one by Basinski, who says, the best way to turn around the gun debate is to shoot the shooters before they commit a rampage, pre-crime baby. Well, that seems to be kind of what, I mean, that's kind of what the whole NSA thing was set up I mean, that's the whole thing, is trying to get ahead of shooters in violating the Constitution in the process. Like, I'm not too sure, like, all the metadata shit is really working that well in preventing mass shooters. And if they are, by all means, NSA and FBI and all the rest, come testify before Congress and say so. Come say that you're doing a lot to prevent fucking mass shootings, and give 100 different examples if that's the case. But it appears to me that, like, it's a lot of hints and vague suggestions, and maybe somebody reports it to somebody, and then the fucking person shows up with a gun and blows a bunch of people away. It's like, it doesn't really seem to me that prevention is all that much of a possibility, at least in the current forms of that exist. Gaku says it might help to check out Razor's recommended games if you need something to look forward to. He's got good. Do you mean Razor Fist? Is that who you mean, Razor Fist? If you need something to look forward to, he's got good taste. I am really enjoying Total War myself. Get good, Scrub, Vampires Are for Noobs. I don't think so. I think that Manfred is largely more. He's easier than I do the Karsteins. Those are the faction that I play as vampires. But still, I struggle with that game, and it's not exactly to my liking in terms of the struggle. Nubhub says, I kind of have you as a middle-aged cynic Dale Cooper subversion weeb PI in my near future mild sci-fi story. Take a preemptive campaign contribution. Thanks, I guess, there, Nubhub. Not fully following what you're saying. Some guy tweeted me, and it might be because of my stream. Yeah, it doesn't even follow me. I guess. I think your video on H3 wasn't really good. Your main point that Ethan is hypocritical for defending it's not about defending iDubbbz. It's about Ethan. It's about Ethan defending Ethan for saying the word nigger and faggot over and over and over again, and then attacking PewDiePie for saying once nigger, for having an outburst on a stream. Meanwhile, Ethan said it over and over and over joyfully. It has nothing to do with iDubbbz. It has everything to do with fucking Ethan. I don't really agree with the situation was clearly different. Well, okay, then you have two standards. You don't have one standard on the word nigger. It's just sometimes you can say the word and sometimes you can't. Like you just said nigger in type. Is that appropriate or not? There's no rule set by which anyone lives. There's no actual example that somebody can give for what the rule is in the use of that word. So if you go out there and you say emphatically that you should never use the word ever, and that's what Ethan agreed to in that podcast, he already used the word numerous times in another stream. That is flagrantly hypocritical. So I've yet to hear a single argument regarding this as in any way coherent. You don't have a coherent opinion about this. And you say you're not a fan, and you were hoping it was going to be an interesting takedown of H3H3. Well, I don't dislike H3H3. I don't dislike Ethan. I hate his podcast and think it's garbage. And I think it made him into a garbage human. And you can only disagree to some extent, because he came out months later and then literally copped to the fact that he hated himself, that he changed as a person and hated himself and was depressed because of it. Guess what he was doing in that time? Doing the podcast. He wasn't doing shit on his own channel. He was doing the podcast almost exclusively. So I am not wrong. You can disagree with me, but I've yet to hear a single argument from anybody that actually disproves what I said. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, it doesn't have to go for too long. So I'll check out one more thing before I check out for now, because I don't really think there's too much I had going on. I was going to see if I could find something else to talk about that wasn't an article that I would have to show and go through and all that, because I'd rather just do that at another time and just do this as a sporadic stream. But I think that's it, at least for now. Let me double check super chats. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so I'll just end it there. Thanks for stopping by, guys, and be sure to follow me on the Twitter, on Gab. Be sure to support me on Maker Support or Patreon. Be sure to use my affiliate links that you can find in the description of every video and support me there. I appreciate all the super chats and all those of you supporting me. I'm currently working on some actual content, so hopefully you won't have to wait too much longer before I actually upload something. And I don't have an exact plan for when I'm going to do another stream, as I usually don't because of my job. But in the near future, I will be doing another stream, as I always am doing. So I appreciate everyone for stopping by, and I'll talk to you later.